If conflict breaks out in South Asia, India faces a punishing geographic reality. The military has to be prepared to fight a simultaneous two-front war against heavily armed neighbors on both its eastern and western borders. This chart outlines the golden requirement for India's airspace defense. To survive that two-front scenario, the military requires a target threshold of 42.5 fighter squadrons. A squadron is a standard military unit, which in the Indian Air Force means approximately 18 identical fighter jets operating together. Keep your eye on that threshold line, because here is the current reality. India has exactly 29 active squadrons today. That leaves the Air Force staring down a massive deficit of 13.5 squadrons. The danger of that gap becomes entirely clear when we drop the adversary fleets onto the exact same graph. Pakistan sits closely behind with 25 squadrons. China towers over the region with a massive 66 squadrons ready to deploy. The issue is the overwhelming volume of aircraft, combined with the extreme technological edge pushing against the border. China is actively fielding advanced radar-evading jets. Simultaneously, the Pakistani Air Force maintains intense, constant pressure on the Western Front. India fell into this 13-squadron hole rapidly. Back in 1999, the Air Force commanded 39 squadrons, but the fleet relied heavily on Cold War-era MiG-21 interceptors. As those aging aircraft reached the end of their viable lifespans, they were forced into retirement, stripping the fleet of its numbers. You cannot fight a modern war with obsolete aircraft. Facing down next-generation stealth fighters with legacy tech guarantees failure, forcing the Indian military into a desperate sprint to procure modern jets. To stop the bleeding, India is applying an immediate band-aid using 4.5-generation aircraft. These jets lack full stealth capabilities, but they feature highly advanced digital radars and modern weapon systems to hold the line. The primary domestic solution is the Tejas fighter. India is building roughly 180 of these jets locally through Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, utilizing American-made engines. In parallel, India is looking abroad. The Air Force already operates French Rafale jets, and the government is currently exploring a massive purchase of 114 additional units to rapidly inflate the squadron count. These procurements successfully plug the immediate numerical leak, but they only buy time. Surviving the next decade requires an engineering transition to stealth technology. That transition relies on the fifth-generation fighter. The defining characteristic of a fifth-gen jet is true stealth, a structural design and specialized coding that allows the aircraft to completely evade enemy radar. The goal is to see the enemy and strike before ever appearing on their screens. Global superpowers eagerly offered India a shortcut. The United States proposed selling its premier fifth-gen platform, the F-35. Russia countered with an offer for their own stealth fighter, the Su-57. India officially rejected both options. Instead, the government chose the hardest possible route, building one from scratch. India initiated the AMCA, or Advanced Medium Combat Aircraft project, backing it with a massive 15,000 crore rupee budget. To pull this off, the state-run defense sector is abandoning its traditional isolation. They are bringing in private engineering giants like Tata and L&T to co-develop the technology, aiming to deliver a working prototype by 2027. Mastering radar-absorbent materials is a monumental task, but the true bottleneck is propulsion. Only a handful of nations know how to build a jet engine capable of powering a fifth-generation fighter, making domestic research and development a painfully slow process. While India grinds through the mechanics of fifth-generation stealth, its rivals have already moved on. The United States is already flight testing the B-21 Raider, the first platform built to the sixth-generation standard. If fifth-gen is about hiding, sixth-gen is about autonomously commanding the battlespace. These platforms will fly without human pilots on board, or they will deploy AI drone wingmen to fly alongside them, instantly confusing enemy targeting computers with multiple false signals. The combat mechanics are shifting entirely. Instead of traditional missiles, these fighters will utilize direct energy weapons, firing highly concentrated lasers and microwaves to disable targets instantly. Modern militaries have learned how to jam satellite GPS signals, rendering standard jets blind. Sixth-generation fighters bypass this entirely using quantum navigation, a system that relies on internal atomic measurements to chart a perfect course. making it completely immune to satellite jamming. The technological gap is widening at terrifying speed. If a nation arrives late to the sixth-generation era, their entire airspace is vulnerable, no matter how many older squadrons they put in the sky. India faces a harsh reality. The research cycle to invent sixth-generation technology from scratch is too long and vastly too expensive to do alone. By 2035, and the clock is ticking, with persistent reports that China is already testing prototypes. To survive the immense cost, nations are pooling capital into massive consortiums. The UK, Italy, and Japan formed the GCAP. Right next door, France, Germany, and Spain are building the FCAS, or Future Combat Air System. India has spotted a strategic opening. France and Germany are currently in conflict over how to divide the engineering labor. Taking advantage of this friction, New Delhi has signaled a strong desire to join the French-led FCAS program, offering massive investment if Germany drops out. The Indian military is now executing a dual-track survival strategy. They will continue the domestic AMCA project to patch today's 13-squadron deficit, while aggressively hunting for European alliances to guarantee they won't be outgunned in the quantum wars of tomorrow.